You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, snow is here. The snowpocalypse is here. We're going to hear from our very own Lonnie Walton on how some four-staters are preparing.
Also, Joplin police begin an investigation into a shooting early Monday evening.
And of course, we have the alert day today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Not just snow, but dangerously cold temperatures. We'll have the latest coming up.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Tuesday. It's February the 18th. It is very cold, very snowy. The snow, a lot of it's starting to ease up out there. Do not let it fool you. It is not done yet. We just got this morning band through. We have much heavier snow on the way in the next hour, so if not less time than that.
Definitely in for it. Well, our very own Samantha Walker has been outside all morning braving the winter weather.
And we want to check in with her now. See, there she is outside. Now, the good news is for you folks at home, she's right outside. Okay, she comes right back in where it's warm. So how are the conditions out there, though?
It's cold. I think that should be a given right now. It is so cold. It's been cold all morning, but I feel like it's just getting colder. It may not look like we have a ton of snow outside with us right now, but I will say it has been accumulating, and we still have it coming down. The snow that we are getting is pretty soft. It's packable. It's sticking to everything. It's sticking to my glove, sticking to my shoes, and it's starting to stick to the ground. Now, we have US 69 right outside by us, and we've had semis and road crews going down this road. These road crews are trying to keep it clear. Drivers are taking it really, really slow, and that's what I would recommend if you have to be out right now. But if you can stay inside, I would recommend doing that. I mean, I have my layers, I have my gloves, I have my extra socks and scarves and hats, but I am still freezing cold. So if you can avoid staying outside, I would do that. But I hope you guys are warm back in the studio, reporting live. Back to you.
Yes, get warm, Samantha. Thank you so much. I mean, you can even see the wind out there. It's just kind of howling right now. You can see your hair blowing. You can hear it.
And that's going to be the problem with this all day. That's why the alert days continue through Thursday. Is the dangerous cold with the low temperatures and very low wind chills out there as well. Let's start. We got our live look from Samantha right here at the station. Let's take a look outside downtown Pittsburgh. You can see Broadway is covered in snow, and Broadway, as you know, is a main road. And if it's covered, the side roads are as well. Schools are closed today. I know several have gone ahead and canceled for tomorrow, which is a wise precaution, because the plow crews, again, they do an amazing job. But when this is done, and the bulk of the area is sitting 9 to 13 inches of snow, it will take more than a day to get all of this cleared out so buses and people can start making it where they need to go. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. We got the snow. Now we get a little more daylight. You can see it's definitely sticking to the roadways out there. It was doing okay. It was not sticking so much, but it is beginning to as it continues to fall. KDOT reporting covered roadways across a good swath of our area, at least partially covered, two covered. Most listed as covered. Again, the few exceptions, parts of Montgomery, Elk, and Chautauqua counties where you didn't see as much snow yet with this first ban. But don't worry, you'll get some too. Everybody's going to get in on the snow as we go through the day today. I-49, KC, or at least around Harrisonville, down through our area is listed as covered. I-44's improved a bit around the Mount Vernon area. It was listed as covered. MoDOT roadways around the Joplin metro area itself listed as covered. It's really, now there are some south of I-44, but most of it's north of I-44 where the heavier snow has been. But again, eventually, all of us will get in on the snow. So here's how it looks on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We still have some snow falling around there. Our station would be about here-ish. So that's why Samantha's still seeing snow. And it will continue, and we'll get new development of snow. So that's why it may look like it's ending. It's absolutely not. We've got more snow on the way. We'll have more development of snow as we go through the day. Here's some around Dodge City, out to the west. And that's going to bring us also with the winds, the possibility of blizzard-like conditions as we head into the afternoon. So any number of reasons to not go anywhere. Really, looking at the roads now, they're slick. If there's something you forgot yesterday, maybe now, right now, even though it's brutally cold, right now, you can run up to the store and run back, all right? because here in a little bit, you're not going to be able to go anywhere, and most of us are going to be stuck for a while. Temperatures falling through the day. Many of us have already reached our highs or are sitting at our highs right now. As you can see, the heavy snow continues through the day. About 10, as we start to see the heavier snow taper off from west to east, we'll still be dealing with the brutal cold temperatures and some flurries overnight tonight into tomorrow. 5 in Fort Scott, 7, Iola Yates Center and Nevada. Again, a little warmer to the south. Temperatures aren't moving much, and eventually these will begin to fall, so you're kind of at your highs. Look at these wind chills. 16 below zero is what it feels like in Fort Scott. That's what Samantha's talking about. That's what the alert days are for. That's what the cold weather advisories are for, and the extreme cold warnings. You do not want to go outside in this. Temperatures, again, falling slowly. Heavy and blowing snow through the majority of the day. We're going to talk about this snow, the snowfall, road conditions. We'll have an update on that, and the spring-like weather that's on the way next week here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Joplin first responders were alerted to reports of a shooting Monday evening around 6:30 near the 800 block of South Florida. A male was found suffering from a gunshot wound. Now, this was a non-fatal wound, and he was rushed by ambulance to an area hospital. Now, for now, the parking lot of the apartments in the 800 block of South Florida Avenue are wrapped in crime scene tape as officers are conducting a shooting investigation. JPD tells us there is no threat to the public. Well, people across the 4 states were stocking up on staples yesterday. KOAM's Lonnie Walton spoke with shoppers about their experience and got some expert advice about the changing weather.
Yeah, for the cold weather that's coming up, really.
Zachary Macy is a customer at Hinkle's Ace Hardware in Webb City. He says he's not dealing with any frozen pipes this season.
We have a shower drain that does not like when it gets real cold. So we're grabbing some stuff to try to keep that from freezing over the next few days.
And Zachary Hunt, another customer, says he's not planning on freezing tomorrow either.
I'm actually getting a brush to clean the fireplace, getting ready for the snow coming in and everything.
Both Macy and Hunt are some of the many people who are keeping the stores busy ahead of the storm tomorrow. That's according to Ace Hardware store owner John Hinkle.
My gosh, it's a busy day at the hardware store. Everyone's on prep mode. It's the calm before the storm.
Hinkle says the customers are soaking up some of their favorite items.
Every person I've seen, every group of people have been carrying sleds, so they won't last, much longer.
And don't forget about that ice melt.
I could have sold a truckload probably today if I had it.
And we decided to talk to a pharmacist for those who may need medication.
Actually, it's really good to take inventory of your medications, especially the real important ones like blood pressure medications and so forth. Make sure you have around a 5-day supply at least for this.
Macy, who works at a school, says he, along with these students, can plan to stay home in the near future because
it's going to snow a lot.
We're planning on probably being home for the next 3 or 4 days.
Reporting in Webb City, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Well, grocery stores around the area were also busy yesterday as some people might be unable to get out of their homes in the coming days. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Charlene shares a healthy alternative to chocolate chip cookies. And later, one organization aims to help families get back on their feet after the recent wildfires in California. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Our good friend Charlene Patton from the Kansas Soybean Commission back with us again. And this month is a very special month for the Kansas Soybean Commission.
I love it. It's called Bake for Family Fun Month. I have 4 daughters and 9 grandchildren, and I love to get them in the kitchen. There's so many benefits of baking and sharing, measuring to teach your kids, reading the recipes, following the order of things.
Yeah.
Lots of good skills that you can teach your children. Besides, the whole concept of Bake for Family Fun is sharing family recipes. So if you have a recipe that your grandmother made that you can pass down from generation to generation, That's wonderful. And you were telling me about one of your family recipes.
Yeah, I wish I still had it all, but it was pretty simple, I think. We used to make, my mom would make a blackberry cobbler. We'd fresh pick the blackberries. She'd take them home. She made the dough by hand. It was one of those things she really enjoyed making, and it was always great. And that's how you knew summertime was here too. Because
that's right.
She'd go out and pick those ripe, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm sure many folks have a lot of great recipes that have been handed down over the years. My wife actually does have a recipe book from her grandmother, which goes back to her mother. So we're talking, we've got some really classic recipes.
Oh, that's wonderful. The whole concept, you're doing Bake for Family Fun right there.
All right.
Well, the recipe we're doing today is a chocolate chip tofu cookie. And I was mentioning to you that the tofu really replaces eggs in this recipe.
Okay.
So if you have an allergy to that, this will be the perfect recipe for you. I'm going to have you mix the dry ingredients.
Okay.
I have all-purpose flour in here. You're going to mix soy flour, baking powder, baking soda. This is oatmeal. And what they had, the recipe, this is from the Soy Foods Council, put that in the food processor. And you can see how I ground that up. So it's a little finer than regular oatmeal. And then this is textured vegetable protein. That's another soy ingredient. Really adds a lot of nutrition to the recipe, but it's going to give it a crunch like you added a cereal into it.
Okay.
So you do that,
Okay.
and then I have brown sugar that I've creamed with our butter and with the eggs, or not eggs, with the granulated sugar. And with that, I'm going to add softened tofu to this recipe.
Okay.
And the softened tofu, again, I drained that and put it in the food processor till it made it nice and creamy. So we're just going to mix that together. You're doing a good job.
Hey. And so I still want to add all of this.
That's
okay.
right.
All of this. Okay.
All that. The oatmeal, which I used just regular oats. You could use quick cooking oats. And then the textured vegetable protein. So just stir that together. And then I'm going to have you add that to the dough mixture here. I was going to say that when I put that tofu in the food processor, you could really add all these ingredients in there.
Okay.
I put it in a bowl just so you could see what we were doing.
Yeah.
Now you start adding it here, and we'll gradually add it in.
Okay, and that's what you're saying. That's what this is for.
That's what that's
Okay.
for. Perfect. Yeah. And depending on the age of your children, I mean, little ones can add these. Big ones can help with the measuring and the stirring. So there's a task for everybody. Great. And you just keep adding it. And I was telling you that we probably won't get this all stirred up because I do want to tell you how to finish the rest of it. But it makes a nice soft dough.
It does.
And easy to do. So you just pour it all in. That'll be good. Great. And then the next ingredient is chocolate chips. Now, because we're using a semi-sweet chocolate chip and we're making it ourselves, if we wanted to change that to a dark chocolate, butterscotch, maybe even cranberries or raisins, let the kids pick, and you
could make it just about anything you wanted.
Exactly, and let the children pick which ones they want, and they'll have their own special cookie. So now we would just mix this a little bit more till it's all mixed up. This will actually make about 55 cookies.
Oh, wow.
So you can see there are little ones here.
Yeah.
If you want to make bigger size cookies, you can do that. And just make sure you have all the same size on your baking sheet so that they bake evenly. Bake those at 350 for about 8 to 10 minutes, and you'll have wonderful cookies out of the oven.
All right, another fantastic recipe. And of course, Charlene, if anyone wants this recipe or any of the others we're featuring this month, where can they go?
They should go to our website at kansassoybeans.org, or you can call our 800 number, 877-KS-SOYBEAN. We'll send them all the recipes for February.
Excellent. Charlene, thank you so much. And of course, if you missed it, don't worry. It's going to be on our website as well, KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:19 on this Alert Day Tuesday as we have got ourselves the snow out there. Now, some of it's easing up, at least briefly, but you can see downtown Pittsburgh, Broadway is covered, which means side roads are fairly well covered as well. And look at how much that camera is shaking. That's the second half of our alert days over the next few days, is the dangerous cold and the dangerously cold wind chills that are going to go along with that as well. So a number of reasons to stay indoors. A number of schools have already canceled, not just today, but tomorrow as well, because once this is done and we've got 9 to 13 inches of snow out there, the road crews, it's going to take them more than a day, all right, to clear the streets. They do a fantastic job, but I can assure you it's going to take more than a day to get all this cleared out. KDOT camera at Kansas Crossing, looking back to the south. So here's that right turn lane coming out of the crossing, out of the casino, and you can see we've only got one lane that's visible here, and there's usually two. All right, so that's why you got to slow down. There's going to be slick spots. This snow that's blowing out there is going to be slick. 69 just north of that, looking a bit better, but you can still see some shiny spots, some wet spots. They're going to be slick. You got to be cautious, and of course, snow onto the shoulders. MoDOT cameras around the metro area along I-44. Again, this is I-44 at exit 4, looking back to the west. This is an exit ramp, of course, coming off onto that. And you can see, again, we have some snow cover out there. Same on range line. So exit 8, and you're looking back to the north along range line at that diverging diamond. And take a look at the snowpack even on this lane right here. Okay, that's why you got to slow down out there because we are going to have to contend with that. Same here. Look at 20th and range line. You can see the tracks. You got to be slow. You got to be careful because this little light feathery snow out there is going to be very slick to drive on. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Expectations, same coverage, and you'd be absolutely right. We have those slick spots out there. And again, it's not awful yet. It's not great, but it's not awful yet. More snow is on the way. Covered roadways, KDOT reporting a lot of those. Again, right now, Elk, Chautauqua, parts of Montgomery County not dealing with it as bad because you haven't had as much snow yet as we got out of this first band in other areas. And that's the other thing, is it is pausing in some locations, so we might even get caught up a bit on road conditions temporarily before the heavy, heavy snow rolls in later this morning into the afternoon hours. So we've still got covered roadways, again, mainly north of I-44. But again, those conditions will continue to deteriorate. We've had some reduced visibilities from heavier snow at times. Still have some reduced visibilities out there now. But by this afternoon, late morning into the afternoon, we could be dealing with, at times, near blizzard-like conditions with that heavy snow, which is another good reason not to be out today, unless it's an absolute emergency. Snow still slowly rolling through. We'll see more development, see how this is kind of filling in. And remember, snow is very finite. It's difficult for radar to pick up. Even when we put it into snow mode, it could still be difficult for radar to see all of it. So it's filling in with heavier snow, and that will continue as we enter the afternoon. Additionally, the dangerous cold weather advisories, extreme cold warnings, because we're going to have wind chills already beyond 15 below zero. Snowfall amounts, in case you were wondering, haven't seen it lately, here's where we're at in this pink zone, 9 to 13 inches with locally heavier amounts possible with some of the heavier snow bands, and 6 to 10 inches in the blue area surrounding. So most of the 4 states, 9 to 13 inches. That's a lot of snow. Here's the boundary. Here's the colder air. It is 4 now in Fort Scott, 5 in Iola, 6 in Yates Center, 9 in Pittsburgh and Parsons, as well as Neodesha. And again, temperature's not moving much down to the south out here, but you will eventually drop. You've reached your highs. These are your highs. Temperatures will start falling through the day, but you factor in that gusty northeast wind. This is extremely dangerous wind chills, okay? We're 17 below is what it feels like in Iola, 15 below Fort Scott, 16 below Nevada. Up north, you get the idea. Across most of southeast Kansas now, wind chills below zero, and they will not improve out there. As we get our day underway, again, teens out there, heavy snow, very cold, temperatures gradually falling through the day. So again, we're already hitting our highs, and we'll have those dangerously cold wind chills. Once we get beyond that, 0 tonight, 11 tomorrow, 6 below tomorrow night, 15 Thursday, 0 Thursday night. So the alert days continue for the dangerous cold. Then the weekend, a little warmer. Then next week, I'll just get out of the way. Look at that. It's going to be almost 60 degrees a week from now. So you just got to get through this first. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this. Well, as wildfires raged in Los Angeles, tens of thousands of people were evacuated. At least a dozen schools were damaged, including some that were destroyed.
In the days following evacuation orders and school closures, one organization stepped in to help parents and children find normalcy. Danya Bacchus shows us how Project Camp provided a safe space to help families get back on their feet.
Thumbs up! Thumbs up! Wrists together! This may appear to be your typical kids camp, with camp songs, arts and crafts, and the sound of laughter. But there's more at play here.
It'll be two kids drawing and one will look up and say, I lost my house, did you? And the one will go, yup. And then they just keep drawing. Every child at Project Camp in Los Angeles has been impacted by the recent wildfires.
Our school burnt down, so we can't really go to school.
9-year-old Rose McCabe's Altadena school is unrecognizable. The only thing identifying it is the sign.
I feel kind of sad.
And 9-year-old Saffron Scarbeck understands the magnitude of what was lost.
My house didn't burn, but my friend's house is burned, and it kind of feels like my house burned.
Project Camp operates all over the country, hosting pop-up camps after natural disasters like hurricanes, tornadoes, and wildfires. It provides trauma-informed care for children while parents work on taking care of things needed to rebuild. Ozzy Barron is a co-founder and the deputy director.
The thread that we do see is really just a need to return to normal for a little bit, a need to feel like you have your feet back under you, and that's what we try to do.
Project Camp isn't just a place for kids to come and play. Organizers say they aim to create a community and a safe space for kids to process what's going on around them.
They process through play, they process through talking to one another, they process through art and blowing off steam and downtime and just being around kids.
A relief for Rose McCabe's mother, who was a kindergarten teacher at her daughter's school.
I'm grateful for this because actually one of my biggest fears was like, how am I going to rebuild a school with my team if I'm with my kids?
Project Camp allows kids and parents to escape the uncertainty by providing a sense of normalcy. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Certainly an impressive project there.
Great to see, and I'm sure those kids really, need it.
They do. They do indeed.
Well, coming up, Missouri Southern students have the opportunity to dress to impress for potential employers.
And we've got our alert day today. We've got the snow across the area. More of it on the way. The latest when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOA Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. I'm Elise Snowy. The Oklahoma Emergency Response Team in Miami is working to make sure unhoused people have a warm place to stay. Now, currently, they're sheltering between 30 and 40 people. The organization is also providing 3 meals a day for those staying at their shelter. Rick Aldridge, the director of the organization, says his goal is to help people living on the street avoid harsh weather that could lead to health issues.
I have a concern of frostbite. That's very dangerous. As you know, you're going to wind up losing that limb or whatever it is. So we're very concerned because a lot of our folks that are out there are not properly dressed.
The organization is in need of donations like boots, gloves, and hats. And donations are being collected to help Missouri Southern students get ready for their future careers. The Career Services Office at the university is collecting professional clothing items for the Dress to Impress event on February 26th. Students can receive items like slacks, blazers, dresses, and shoes. Now, since the event started more than a decade ago, organizers have collected over 20,000 garments and helped more than 3,000 students prepare for their future.
They're living on campus, they're going to class, but they don't realize how many people in our community truly care about them being successful. And Dress to Impress is a very tangible event that shows how much their community wants to give them not just a hand out, but a hand up to encourage them to be successful post-graduation.
Clothing donations are being accepted until February 24th. Organizers say they also need volunteers in the days ahead of and during the event. Well, snow and bitterly cold temperatures have made their way to the 4 states. Our very own Samantha Walker is outside braving the conditions. Samantha, how are things looking right now?
Cold is a pretty accurate statement, Elise. It is, I feel like temperatures have just, it seems to have dropped. I think mostly because winds have definitely picked up. Accumulation is starting to pick up now. I know this little bit of bunches coming up this month, but
can hear that the wind is making us unable to hear Samantha. We're going to head over to Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, wind is an understatement, and that's part of the problem that we are facing with our alert days. It's not just the snow, but the dangerous cold that goes along with that wind. Live look downtown Pittsburgh, you can see again, snowpack out there. Not that bad yet, but we are not done with the snow yet either. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line. Again, you've got to go slow. This light snow path that's out here is still going to be slick, especially as you're making turns or trying to stop. So still put distance between you and the car ahead of you. And really, the number one thing is don't be out unless you absolutely have to. Quick update on those road conditions. Not many changes because, again, the snow's kind of easing up, at least for right now. It won't last long, okay? So maybe if you did forget something yesterday, this is your last 30 minutes or hour to get out there and take care of that. Covered roadways across a good portion of the area. Again, Elk, Chautauqua, parts of Montgomery County, not nearly as covered because you haven't seen as much snow as your friends off to the north and east, but eventually we'll all get on it. We do have some covered roadways south of I-44 on the Missouri side, but it's mainly north where more of that snow fell, including a number of the MoDOT-controlled roadways in the Joplin metro area as well. And as you can see, that includes 171 heading up to the state line out there. Snow, here's what it looks like right now. It looks like it's kind of everywhere, but remember, snow is finite. Radar does have a hard time picking up on it, so there's probably some flurry activity in between. But look at how quick all of this is filling in. We have all of this that's going to fill in and be on the way and into our counties here within the next hour or so, and it's going to bring very heavy snowfall to the point of even blizzard-like conditions across the area. So again, you're running out of time. If you did forget something yesterday, you got to get it now. Temperatures falling slowly throughout the day. We've all hit our highs. Some of us are at our highs right now, but your temperatures will drop. And you can see heavy snow sticks with us for virtually the entire day. It won't be until later this evening we'll start to see the heavier snow tapering off from west to east. We'll still have to deal with some flurries out there as well. Temperatures. Boy, maybe it might be better just to bring Samantha inside for the rest of the show. I know she's been coming inside. She's right outside our building, so we assure you, as soon as she's done, we tell her she's clear, she's inside where it's warm. But you can see why. It is 4 in Fort Scott, 9 in Pittsburgh and Parsons, 11 in Lamar, 7 in Nevada. And you factor in that wind, it feels like it is 17 below zero in Iola. Okay, we have well below zero wind chills. Those are continuing to shift off to the south and east. That's why we have the alert days through Thursday, because of the dangerous cold and the dangerously cold wind chills that we've got to contend with as well. So again, if you don't have to be outside, really don't, because it's going to be way too cold. Temperatures, again, slowly, thankfully not plummeting, but they're already cold enough, but slowly falling through the day. We'll have heavy and blowing snow at times, which could lead to significantly reduced visibilities. Well, now look at your forecast, the road conditions, and some very spring-like weather that's on the way here in just a few minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, coming up, we'll take a look at Minnesota Lodge with a unique trail. Well, in Consumer Watch this morning, President Trump's new environmental chief wants to take back $20 billion the Biden administration earmarked for climate projects. Now, this as the president pushes to freeze all climate funding from the federal government. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble has more from Washington.
The Environmental Protection Agency wants to claw back billions of dollars the Biden administration set aside for green energy groups, but never delivered.
So we're not talking about chump change here. We're talking about billions of your tax dollars.
EPA officials tell Fox the previous administration, at the last minute, parked $20 billion in a bank with the goal of doling it out to climate organizations as part of a, quote, rush job with reduced oversight. Administrator Lee Zeldin says the money from the so-called Inflation Reduction Act was going to these groups and others. He's calling on the EPA to end its agreement with the bank where the money's sitting and for the bank to return all of it.
We at the EPA and inside the Trump administration have zero tolerance for waste and abuse. We're coming down hard on this.
Separately, he's already canceled a $50 million grant for the Climate Justice Alliance for its pro-Palestinian stance. The head of that organization is blaming the Biden administration for not processing that money in time, while also criticizing the Trump administration, saying, despite claims that this administration will protect clean water and clean air for the nation, it has attacked basic protections for neglected communities from day one. But the head of the RNC says voters elected Trump to carry out sweeping changes like this.
The people who are screaming the most right now are the people who are affected by these cuts. The fact is that the taxpayers, the voters of America, have said no more.
Some experts say the EPA could face legal challenges if it pulls the $20 billion because it was awarded as part of a law that Congress passed and President Biden signed. We've reached out to the organizations involved, but we haven't heard back. In Washington, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:44 now on this Tuesday morning. Taking a look downtown Pittsburgh. Again, the snow's starting to, if you look, you can, well, you don't have to look too hard. You can see it. Snow's picking up again. It's making it difficult for road crews to keep ahead of. It's packed. You can see there's slick spots. There's snow on the roadways, and road conditions will only get worse as the day proceeds. We're expecting still the heaviest snow. Let's see, it's 7:44 in the morning. We're still expecting the heaviest snow in the next 2 or 3 hours, really. So we're not done with it by any means. KDOT camera, Kansas Crossing. This is if you're coming out of the casino. There should be another lane around here, and there is not. We just have the one that is visible. KDOT camera just north of that, looking a little better, a little further north on 69, but still slick spots out there. And of course, the shoulders snow covered as well. MoDOT cameras around the metro. The Main Street one now looking to the east along I-44 from Main Street, which is underneath, and you can see light snow on the interstate itself. Same over here. This is I-44 heading back to the, honestly, I think I was full of it. I think this is heading back to the east as well from exit 4. And then down here, this is, of course, diverging dime. We got a MoDOT truck down here. They are doing what they can, but when this heavy snow gets here, all bets are off. It will start to accumulate very quickly. We've already got it out there sticking to the roadways. Same from 20th and Range Line. 20th Street east here, you can see a lot more snow is piled up in terms of just the coverage, and that's going to lead to slick spots. That thin layer of snow is still enough to be quite slick. You can see it too here at 32nd and Range Line. So on the turns, you got to slow down. When you're driving, you got to keep distance between you ahead and the car ahead of you because it may not look that bad, but this light, fluffy snow stuff is very slick. Road conditions. Let's take a look at the latest updates. Again, not a lot of major changes at this point. Still not too bad. Elk, Chautauqua, Montgomery County. Some slick spots, but nothing crazy. Covered roadways still around Yates Center, Burlington, Garnett, toward Fort Scott, Girard, Pittsburgh, around Chanute, Iola. A little better around Fredonia. We did have some covered roadways around the Fredonia area earlier, and same with Parsons. Some improvements because, like I said, we're getting a little bit of a let up in this, but it won't last long. So road crews will be able to catch up a little, but again, it's not going to last too terribly long. I-49 from about Harrisonville all the way south is listed as covered to I-44. Most of the roadways north of I-44 are covered where we get some heavier snow. We're seeing partly covered now, stretching down toward Neosho and Seneca. That's including 60 and 59 through Newton counties. Or Newton County, rather, but still some partially covered now down there as this snow continues to spread. In fact, you can tell where some of the heavier snow may be falling, or at least heavier flurries. Look at the random spots of reduced visibilities. It's not actual fog. This is from heavy snow. So now Miami, down just under a mile of visibility. And we've got this little patch just west of Parsons. So on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, again, the snow, it's hard to show up. It's hard for it to be picked up on radar, but we are still continuing to see it. We had that band roll through, and look at how quickly all this stretching from Emporia to Hutchinson is filling in north of Wichita. We drag this sucker back to the west toward Dodge City, and you can see more south of Hayes and Salina, south of I-70 filling in, and we'll get heavier bands of snow between 9 a.m. and noon rolling through, and that could even, with the winds, lead to blizzard-like conditions in some cases. Quick reminder, cold weather advisories this color, extreme cold warnings this color, and here is, we'll tell you why in just a moment with those temperatures, because it is dangerously cold across the area. The pink zone, which is most of the region, 9 to 13 inches of snow, locally heavier amounts with some of those heavier snow bands possible, 6 to 10 inches around that in the blue. Here's why we have all those extreme cold warnings and cold weather advisories, because right now, this is the air temperature. It is 4 degrees in Fort Scott, 5 in Iola, 9 Parsons, Pittsburgh, Neodesha. Again, down south, temperatures haven't moved much. These are your highs. You've reached it. Your temperatures will slowly drop from here. But the wind chills are already bad. And they are dangerous, really. 17 below is what it feels like in Iola. 17 below zero, 16 below zero. Fort Scott, Nevada. Those below zero wind chills continuing to spread south and east, and that will make it dangerously cold across the entire area. Hence our alert day, not just today, but through Thursday. Temperatures, now the good news is the temperatures, as cold as they are, will fall slowly. This isn't going to be a plummet. We'll have the heavy snow, blowing snow out there. Again, we've already hit our highs. Heavy snow continues through the day. Northeast winds gusting to 30. That's part of that other problem. 0 tonight, 11 tomorrow, 6 below tomorrow night, 15 on Thursday, 0 on Thursday, and then look next week, a week from now, it's practically spring, so we have highs pushing close to 60. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more after this.
Well, a Minnesota lodge claims to have created one of the longest ice skating trails in the U.S.
As Sophia Lauber shows us, the new trail is a big hit.
The new trail has been drawing locals and visitors from all over the state. Luke Drinkard from Saginaw, Minnesota saw the trail on Facebook and decided he had to give it a try.
Because I wanted to learn how to ice skate, so what's better than driving 4 hours north to do that?
Cause Lindsay made an even further drive up from St. Paul to try Nordic skating for the first time.
I'll be honest, I fell over quite a bit when I was getting going. But once I got my boots tightened up, it's been an awesome loop to skate around.
Lodge owner John Fredrickson says he was inspired to make the course after seeing how many people perfect natural ice skating conditions drew to the North Woods in 2019. This is the first year they've done it on such a large scale, and so far, it's been a hit.
People are calling up and driving our front desk a little bit crazy with the calls asking if they've been cleared, but it's fun. I think people are happy to do it. It's something different that you're not getting a whole lot of other places.
But it turns out clearing 6 miles of trail is no small job.
The maintenance is kind of a nightmare.
The lodge plows and brushes trails, but doesn't add any water, so the ice is all natural. Fredrickson says the work is all worth it when he sees how much skaters are enjoying it.
I'm learning a lot about kind of how to manage the ice, and every year the ice is a little bit different. You're dealing with Mother Nature and trying to kind of work through what the lake is doing and how to maybe reroute things.
And if Mother Nature cooperates, he hopes to hold on to the title next year.
Well, certainly an impressive, and not quite ice down here, but snow for sure across the area. Leading to some travel issues, we're going to take another quick look at road conditions starting in Kansas, where we do still have some covered roadways out there. Road crews are catching up a little. We're getting a slight break in the snow in some locations, but it will not last. On the Missouri side, again, I-49 from about Harrisonville to I-44 is not closed, my apologies, covered at this point, along with a number of the MoDOT roadways within the metro area itself. We have partially covered roadways back down through portions of Newton County, and the snow will continue to push on through. Significantly reduced visibilities northeastern Oklahoma. We've got some heavier precip coming down out there, and we still have that snow and more of it on the way. We could even have near blizzard-like conditions by this afternoon. We'll have another look at your forecast. News you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Joplin first responders were alerted to reports of a shooting near the 800 block of South Florida Avenue Monday evening. A male was found suffering from a non-life-threatening gunshot wound and was rushed by ambulance to an area hospital. Joplin police are conducting a shooting investigation and tell us there is no threat to the public. The Oklahoma Emergency Response Team in Miami is working to make sure unhoused people have a warm place to stay, as well as providing 3 meals a day for those staying in their shelter. The organization director says his goal is to help people living on the street avoid harsh weather that could lead to health issues. The organization is in need of donations like boots, gloves, and hats. And donations are being collected to help Missouri Southern students for the Dress to Impress event on February 26. Students can receive items like slacks, blazers, dresses, and shoes. Clothing donations are being accepted until February 24th.
Dangerously cold temperatures out there will continue. The snow will pick up in the next hour or so to the point we could have near blizzard-like conditions in some cases. Most of us anywhere 9 to 13 inches of snow with locally heavier amounts possible. We've already hit our highs. Temperatures gradually falling through the day. Northeast winds gusting to 30, and as we're seeing this morning, putting our wind chills upwards of 20 degrees below zero, which is why our alert day continues through Thursday, because once the snow is done, we still have the extreme cold to contend with. Heavy snow continues, starts wrapping up by about 10, down to 0 tonight for our overnight low. We'll make a whopping 11 degrees tomorrow, 6 below tomorrow night. Breezy, still dangerous cold continues again through Thursday. And then I don't know what in the world's going on, but by next week, a week from this snowstorm today, we are going to have near 60-degree temperatures. So let's stay inside, let's stay safe, and we'll all celebrate outdoors next week when it's a little warmer.
Yes, we will.
And we will see you back here with more on this winter storm at noon.
Have a safe rest of your morning.